Mm-hmm.
Joni, I see the top of your head.
Because I'm trying to eat my lunch.
Oh.
Lunch turned into an early supper, it looks like.
It was my breakfast too, though.
Oh, wow.
Okay, your streaming is running.
Okay, great. Muchas gracias, señora.
De nada.
Actually, I'm going to go take a little peek also, see if it's working on. Let's see.
Yeah, this thing is telling me that I have too many windows open. I better shut them down.
Hey, Anita, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Sean.
I'm trying to get my video. I don't know what's wrong here.
Oh.
Seems like a lot of people having that issue today.
Yeah, is that you guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's us.
Wait a minute, I just exited everything. What are you guys doing here?
We're here.
Oh. David, no, Mike, where are you? Can we come
I'm
along?
right here.
Okay.
Oh, but I see you guys, but
We don't see you.
okay, start video. Let's see what this does.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Funny.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Who's
still
the
have
M?
somebody with an M, and we still have an extra box that says Sean's name.
Sean, are you there by phone too?
No, that's just what I was trying
It's
to
on
lay
your
in,
bar.
Mr.
Gotta cut one
Douglas.
off.
Okay, I do have the stream working again.
Okay.
Okay, good, excellent.
Rabbi's coming on now.
You know, that might be Rabbi Weisberg. Actually, I'm thinking.
No, he's right here now.
Yes, he is. How about the other M?
Don't know.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Rabbi.
Well, we got. So we still need one more.
We need one more.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Right.
I don't know who the M is, but
Maybe that's mine. Did I come on double? What it would be?
Maybe.
well, let me. How do I maybe?
I don't know if we can ping. I don't know if we can identify it. But if somebody wants to speak, of course they can sit in the audience. But if somebody wants to speak, then they'd have to identify themselves.
Could it be me? Tell you
Maybe.
Could
I
be.
doubt it. You say Michael McNeil.
Yeah, but see, Sean's in there twice too.
Yeah, Sean, you're in there twice.
Sean's name.
That's why I think why you're getting some reverb on you also.
How do I get out of here?
And let me see if I can shut it down for you.
You're like me. I'm the same way.
Here, let me expel one of yours.
Can you?
Yeah, I could do that because I just got
Rabbi,
rid of
can
one
you
of
hear me?
yours.
Oh, you
Okay.
did.
Okay, now see if you can do it for the M.
Yeah, I
No,
don't know.
that might be a public person.
Oh, okay.
We don't know who that is.
And they can't speak because the microphone's off on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Well, we
All
still
right.
need one more person.
we just need one more person. Is like
Ellie Rennett or
Ellie Renner, Isaac Ackerman.
Alfred Ackerman or Lee Gold. Because Ray Cole's not available.
Let me call Lee because he can jump on. He's like in his car all the time, so
Okay.
maybe we could just get him on the phone. Okay, let me find his number.
I gotta
Is
stand up
Rabbi,
to see me.
is Rabbi muted?
I hear you,
Michael
Michael.
Weisberg.
Oh, Ellie Renner. Okay.
Okay.
Rabbi Weisberg. Yeah, he's muted.
You gotta unmute.
He's not
Talk
muted.
it away.
Okay, let me start recording after we, Keystone Cops over here.
Ellie is here.
Hi, Ellie.
We have a quorum.
Okay,
But if we
Ellie, can
can't
you hear us?
get
You're
them-
on mute.
Hear you. How you guys doing?
Hi,
Hey.
Ellie.
Okay.
it going?
Rabbi's on mute or not?
Okay, all right. Let me just get the OBS recording and then we can start rolling. Okay, it's recording now. Okay, we can. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Call the meeting to order. Where is he? Wait a minute.
You lost him.
There he is. No, he's there. He's there. Mr. Mueller.
Where?
He's,
Oh, there he is, right next to you. He's your neighbor.
Yes, he's my neighbor.
You ready?
Am I gonna read the
Yeah,
announcement?
we're ready.
Yes.
Okay. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with provisions of the Senator Bryan M. Bear Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, 10:4-12A, by notice published in Asbury Park Press and by posting of the same in the Office of Municipal Building, Office of the Lakewood Development Corporation, and upon the public bulletin board of the Lakewood Municipal Building.
Roll call, please.
Albert Ackerman, Ray Coles, Lee Gold,
Yeah.
Mike McNeil,
Here.
Abraham Muller,
Here.
Ellie Rennert,
Here.
Rabbi Whitesworth. He's muted. Wave.
Rabbi
I see
Weisberg.
him, I just don't hear him.
Yeah,
We do have a quorum.
Okay. Rabbi Weisberg, if you hear us, could you lead us in the flag salute?
no, we don't hear him.
We see him.
We see you. Okay,
You
well,
see him.
we pledge allegiance. Oh, there we
To
go.
the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the
There you
flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A motion to approve the minutes of the June 8th meeting.
Move.
Who was the first move?
Move. Again.
Identify yourself when you're moving it so we know who you are.
After about 12 years, you don't know?
Oh, Mike.
All right, Mike, and who was the second?
It's Ellie.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it sounds like it was approved.
Yes.
Okay, any old business?
Yes, Chairman, we have some old business. So the board, I'm sure, is aware that the state legislature has been working on new legislation to reactivate, if you want to call it, the UEZ program and the reallocation of the zone assistance funds back to the zones. So in late June, basically a week and a half ago or so, both houses of the legislature, it's been passed by the state for to reenact the program. So I had a call with James Simmons. James Simmons, some of you may know, he's our state representative at the Urban Enterprise Zone Authority, and he has set up a pre-meeting on Tuesday next week, August 10th, with the coordinators to discuss the new legislation, to give us an opportunity to air any thoughts, concerns, input that we'd like to have. It's still a fluid situation, as he mentioned. Even though the legislature has passed it, still has to be signed by the governor, and the governor has, as of yet, has not signed the legislation. So there still is an opportunity, perhaps, to give some input. So one of the things that we're going to bring up, probably the main issue, is the board may recall. Actually, I can put it on the screen, that they got away with the old map, the old footprint of the UEZ, and now they're essentially making virtually, I would say, 90% of the township eligible, essentially, to participate in the UEZ program. However, they created these new zones, these new areas within the township footprint. Let me bring it on the screen. That'll probably be the easiest way to talk about this. So I'm going to share my screen. Here, one moment.
Did the zones have any input into the redrawing of the map?
What's that?
Did the zones have any input into the redrawing of the map? How did they do that?
Actually, no, they completely based it on distressed area data, census tract data, that type of stuff. But since Lakewood is categorized as a severe distressed area and a low income community, so almost all of Lakewood was placed within the new. Here, I'm going to put it on the screen. I had it up moments ago. Oh gosh, just when you want it.
Did you say 90% of the town is in the UEZ?
Well,
Dave?
yeah, I'm gonna show you. It's just where did it go? Oh gosh. Oh, here it is. Okay, just bear with me for a second. I'm gonna share this part of my. Oh, here it goes. It's going really slow again.
Why you bearing? Did you say 90%?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna show you right now.
That's okay.
Can you see it on the screen? Can everyone see this?
No, it's telling you to change the video size or the number of videos.
It is.
Can't see it.
Well, what do you see on your screen?
It's just a blank screen, a great blank screen.
I see some
It's
moving
resized
people.
to change the video size or the number of videos. I'm not sure that might be mine. That's mine. Okay.
Mine is saying the same thing. Should I say got
Oh,
it?
is it? Okay, now the map is up on the on the stream,
I don't see it.
but I don't see it. I don't see it here on our.
Okay.
No, it's
Well, all right. So
David's.
we'll just talk about it. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you, but so we have a number of areas within the township that were categorized. Okay, let me explain it this way. So they're making a category called a block group area, which qualifies for businesses to participate in the program. There's something called an industrial hub area, and then there's a major job center area. So we've been very keen on trying to get Westgate into the program. As we know, that's a big area. There's a lot of businesses. For some reason, the map went ahead and categorized it as an industrial hub area, which means you have to be a manufacturing type business in order to participate. Obviously, over there, most of the businesses are retail, and it would exclude them currently. However, I spoke to James. This was a long-winded way of saying I spoke to James, and we still have an opportunity based on them discussing the guidelines, which we'll be discussing on this call. And then there's a follow-up meeting with the governor's office on August 19th to discuss if we can still apply that area to be within the zone, to be able to participate within the zone. If that doesn't work out, then worst case scenario is we could apply every 5 years, according to our current legislation. We could apply for a zone modification, and we could make application to modify that area and turn it into either a job center or a block group, which would qualify and include all those businesses in Westgate. So that's the plan. That's the goal with that.
Why would you have to wait 5 years? I don't understand.
No, we could do it right away. You're allowed every 5 years to make a zone modification. We're way out of that range anyway. We're due for a zone boundary modification if we wanted to do that. If we're forced to do it that way, we won't be a big deal because we can make that application, and within a couple months, hopefully less than that, we can get those areas included into the zone. So
Gotcha.
I just wanted to point that out. Now,
David, can I just stop you for a minute? Sean, do you think there's something you or Senator Singer can do and just pick up the phone and say, guys, you made a mistake. You classified this. This is a residential and small business area. Maybe it's based on an error. It's not based on some calculated decision.
Yeah, no, Rabbi, we can absolutely reach out and see if we can get it done that way. Good idea.
I agree with the rabbi on that. He's exactly right.
that's an excellent idea, and that would be the easiest way to do it, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how they came across, how they came up with that formulation to make that area a industrial hub, but they did.
They just make a mistake, and it has to be changed.
It's possible. In your packets, there's included a paper which represents the annual Lakewood UEZ annual allocation for the new amount, the new monies that will be coming to Lakewood based on the received, the generated reduced sales tax, and that number is 2.6 million. So basically, on an annual basis, if these tax collections remain consistent, we're looking at $2.6 million for projects and loans and all the different things that we are able to do with the program. And it looks like they're bringing back grants that we can offer again. Besides the other, we can do property improvement and other all the things that we were able to do in the past. Now, it was pointed out to me that, when is the governor going to sign this legislation, if he will? So it sounds like he will. James told me that they got word from the governor's office to go ahead and start making plans and go forward as you normally would. They do plan to sign the legislation. However, he pointed out it's an election year, and he's probably looking for the most opportune time to maximize the effect of signing this legislation. However, and Sean could speak to this, that if legislature passes a bill and no action is taken by the governor, then it goes into effect automatically after 45 days. So
Yeah,
we're like about a week.
45 days, David, unless there's a quorum, there are strategic ways to extend that beyond just the mere calendar 45 days. But I could find out for you when the last date that the governor would have to act, because I'm sure he would want to sign something like this, the way you just described it. But it's not a pure 45 days after the bill was passed by the legislature. There's other things that come into it.
Gotcha. But like you said, I don't think he'll want to pass up on this PR win, by signing this legislation. So, we're within definitely a couple weeks, of it going into effect. And if it's signed into the law, the bill states that the effective date would be January 1st of FY22. So I think it's not FY, January 22. Okay, so that's our old business. We can move forward.
Okay.
I'm sorry, any comments? Does any members of the board want to mention anything regarding that? No? Okay.
So move on to new business.
Okay, so we do have some new business as well. So the board is aware that we initially were approached by the New Jersey Economic Development Authority about applying for a microlender support grant. The state put out in, I believe it was May or earlier, in April, an opportunity to apply for a grant. It's a $2 million program, and we're one of the 10 winners of the grant. 10 entities will receive $200,000, and the purpose of this grant was, as it's called, the Microlender Support Grant, to give financial support to microlenders for administrative costs and for staff support. So I had a call with the NJEDA, and I wanted to clarify how can we apply these funds. I think it's in our best interest, and I had spoken with some of the members on the back end, and it was in the best interest of the township that we should be able to offer our businesses, preferred parameters with their loans because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's actually the purpose of the grant, to support microlenders during the pandemic. And the intent over here is to be able to perhaps give our businesses lower interest rates, maybe even a 0% interest rate over the course of a 12-month period. This grant is for 12 months. The money has to be used within the next 12 months. So what we could possibly do, and this was explained to me by the state, is that, let's say we give new loans for the first 12 months at a 0% interest rate, and then after that, there'll be language in the agreement or the loan agreement to go back to our normal interest rate. And we can even look at our old loans, our existing loan portfolio, and I don't know if the word would be amend or just give them notification. That's probably the easiest way, I believe, to notify them that we're going to be giving them the next 12 months 0% on their interest rate. And then it'll kick back to the normal interest rate that they had. So we can apply this to our existing loan portfolio as well. And what they would have to do, though, is since the monies have to be used within this 12-month period, and it's also a bookkeeping, it is a bookkeeping nightmare to go ahead and let them make a lower payment. So I think probably the best way to do this, if the board chooses to do this, is to give them the 0% interest rate 0% interest rate over the next 12 months, and then lower the back end of their loan. What they'll owe at the end of the loan period. I hope I'm making sense over here. Any questions so far?
Yeah, you want to do a loan forgiveness, basically.
Yes.
Based on
No, we're not doing loan forgiveness. We're wiping away interest for one full year. So if they're paying 1% interest for the next 12 months, they're going to pay 0% interest. So if you're paying me $346, that's going all to your principal. None of it's going to be applied to interest because it's being waived, and we're going to recap it back from the grant. But we have to do a quarterly report to the NJEDA to show what we're doing. When they approve it, that's when I can go in the books and recoup that interest. But right now we would have to recast each one of our loans and give them 0% for 12 months. But we can't go and tell them, oh, pay me $25 less this month, pay me $20 less next month, because in the Morgul program, the calculation is going to change because it's all pre-calculated. I can go in and do 0%, and they would still, at the end of the year, they'll be owing less. In other words, so you got to pay me till October of 2025. Well, maybe because you saved $1,000, well, now your last payment's going to be in July of 25. You won't owe anything. It won't go that long.
Right. Did you project that if we did that, how much that would cost?
I did a whole spreadsheet to show what the savings were. We have 59 loans that would save less than $100 for the entire year. And then we have 24 loans that would see a savings of up to $472. But they're mixed because they're all at different stages of the loans. Some loans only have 5 more years to go. Some loans are almost paid now. And then we have 12 loans that will save between $500 and $900. And any new loan will see a savings of $1,200, provided it's in that 12-month period.
But if we use the money, I mean, it sounds like it's a lot of paperwork and it's a relatively small return.
It's about $40,000
of the 200
in a year.
It'll be 200 to spend, right? Am I right?
It'll be about $40,000 in interest savings, close to that, somewhat. Provided we get more loans. Otherwise, it's really right now $32,000.
Right. And David, just again, there's $200,000 to spend in a year, right?
200,000, correct.
Right. So it would make, to me, more sense in this economic environment. It would be, the paperwork, and you're saying so many businesses are going to save $50 a year. And to me, it's not even worth the effort of doing that. That would save $5 a month or whatever it comes out to. The question is, does it make sense to use this to make another push out there to get additional businesses in for new microloans, go back to the $35,000 loan, and just capitalize the new loans with this money? If we do
100%.
So whatever the number is, if we do, let's say for argument's sake, 20 loans at 20,000 at what how does it come out? If we do 10 loans at $20,000, that's $200,000, and that means
No, we can't use the money to give a loan.
Yeah, we can't.
Use the money to save on interest or to cover any kind of increases that we got because of COVID. Like if, in other words, we had to spend a lot more money for advertising. We had to hire new staff because we had, they were trying to help. It's not, you could just take $200,000 and say, oh, let's give loans for $20, it's 20,000 each.
Yeah, Rabbi,
because I thought the same thing. I said, oh, why don't we reach out to regular Lakewood businesses?
It's an administrative costs and support staff grant. In other words, you have to use the funds to offset your administrative costs. In other words, we can use the funds for offsetting our consultants' fees, right? The LCSC consultant fees. We can use the funds to offset closing fees, appraisal fees, hypothetically even, we're not using it for salaries, but hypothetically you could use it for that too. Or you can use it to offset interest that you would have interest revenue you would have generated, let's say charging 3.5%. Now we're giving everyone 0%. So the revenue we would have generated, we can use the funds to offset that loss of revenue. That's how we have to use the funds.
Only for the 1 year.
For 1 year.
Only for the 1 year.
Okay, and
It has to be closed within that year time.
right now, when you made the grant application, you have to detail what your proposed use would be for the $200,000?
They made it really easy as far as reporting. All we have to do is provide basically invoices or some documentation saying that we use the funds for XYZ.
So it's basically a reimbursement either for lost revenue from the interest or additional administrative costs that there was basically due to COVID.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So we're not a big micro lender. So for us, using all the funds is unlikely. It's still probably beneficial to use the funds because we can offset maybe $50,000 over the course of 12 months. Other large lenders, they would, use it up in pretty quickly.
We could just do a real big push on trying to get more loans coming in, almost ASAP, for saving more money. Like,
right.
I don't know, $35,000 loans or $20,000, but start pushing really hard to get our UZ businesses to jump on board. Unfortunately, we cannot spread out to the regular businesses, which is, I thought that's where we could go, and that would say we were expanding our scope, but we can't use UZ money to give out the loan to a non-UZ business. So it happens push for the UZ businesses to take loans at the 0% for 1 year, but do they want to do that for 1 year's worth of savings?
Well, I mean, if they need a loan, and they'll take, let's say, the $35,000, they'll get a bonus, so to speak, of 0% for 12 months, and then they'll go back to a regular interest rate or whatever the board decides they want to give them, whatever particular interest rate they want to give them. But we could make a big push on putting out more loans and take advantage of these funds for that purpose. So we can do both.
We can't capitalize the loans with these funds, right? That's what you're telling me.
We can't capitalize the loans with these funds, but we can offset the interest that would have been generated, the interest revenue that would have been generated if we give them, let's say, a 0% for the next 12 months.
How about if we set up a program to reimburse businesses for lost revenue? And, we'll work it out. Let's say up to $10,000 per business if they can document lost revenue during COVID.
That's an idea.
It's relatively simple to document. You look at the two tax returns, and see what they did last year, what they did this year. If they had a drop, we would reimburse them for lost revenue. I know in other grant programs on the federal level, they did allow that for like colleges and universities, that whatever had a close and then counting on tuition revenue or other things, and they were closed, they would allow them to recoup some of that lost revenue. We can, put it out there, let's see what comes back. I think that would be much more concrete, especially if there were some businesses, retail businesses that really took a hit because they had to close down. for an extended period of time and then lost all that revenue, and somehow we come up with some formula to how to rank and what the parameters of the program is. But I think it would be a win-win for the PR, for the LDC. We get out there. Certainly politically would be a win-win.
Yeah, we were talking about maybe putting out a survey to all of our UEZ businesses, and I have some ideas here of what, how that survey could look. For example, we could put out a survey and ask them, was your industry negatively impacted by the COVID pandemic? Now, not all industries, believe it or not. I have a friend who has a coffee business, and they did extremely well. Not every business was impacted negatively, even though many were, of course. So we put that out as one of the questions of the survey. The next question would be, if yes, what percent of revenues are you down during this past year of COVID? And then the board can decide on what parameter you want to choose to make that business a candidate to get these preferred loans. For instance, is it 5%, 10%, 15% down in revenues? The board would decide what that parameter would be. And then third question is, would a 12-month reduction in your microloan interest rate benefit your business? Not all businesses want to have, some of them take advantage of a tax write-off from the interest of their loan. So, we could put a survey out there, right? Anita, we can put that together, send it out to all of our businesses. And, here's what's interesting.
Instead of a survey, I would prefer just to go out there and just do an ad campaign out there. Was your business badly impacted by COVID? And let's solicit it that way instead of doing a whole mailing or survey or whatever it is. That I think we can highlight it very boldly with either in the local print, the weeklies, or on the websites, the Lakewood websites, and just say that if your business was badly impacted. And throw that out there. Let's see what comes back, and then we can sort of figure out. If we get 20 responses, it's one thing. If we get 200 responses, then we have to figure out what to do from there.
David,
yes.
I just remind you, just to make sure first, that you can change the parameters of what you want to use this grant for, because your agreement that you're supposed to sign has specific language on what it's being used for. So if you want to change that, I get a call to the EPA first to make sure you can change.
Well, I spoke to them. It's very clear that we can only apply the funds to offset administrative and staff costs. So the way that we would do this is if we give our businesses, well, besides direct offsetting of costs, but also giving businesses lower interest rates and offsetting our costs through the, through the interest revenue that was not generated, we can apply it to that too. So that's how we can turn it into a loan program. That makes sense.
Okay, I just want to make sure you
No, it's very clear from that. I had a bunch of conversations with them. It's very clear that we can be creative and figure out how we can apply the funds to offset administrative and staff support costs. But it has to be used for that purpose.
Good.
Okay. I just had a thought, by the way. I don't mean to belabor this. It's true that all of our businesses are UEZ, all of our loans are UEZ loans, but nothing's holding us back from participating with other organizations that also lend money to local businesses. And, well, let me think. All right, let me strike that from the conversation. I have to think about that more. Strike that. Okay. Okay, and Joan, maybe after tomorrow or something, you can send the spreadsheet of the different figures that you put together on the spreadsheet for the loan savings, the interest savings to the board.
I've got that saved already. That's not a problem. I sent it to you. I thought you had it on your
okay.
notes.
So if we maybe get that out to the board would be a good idea.
David, I would also appreciate if you can send the actual grant application so we can see what we said we're going to do with it.
Sure.
Or what the parameters are for the use of the money.
Will do. I'll send you that. I'll also send you the agreement that now in your packet, if the board chooses to vote yes on this, there's a resolution in your packet to vote on allowing the LDC to accept the grant award. So
Because we could still accept it, and then if we decide it's not gonna work.
right, we could vote on accepting it and just
He has to sign this agreement by the 10th. He has to have it back to the EDA by the 10th, so we have to decide if we're gonna do it or not.
Okay, so that covers everything with the EDA.
Okay. Any corporate council reports?
No report, Chairman.
Okay, David, do you have a director's report?
Yeah, I'll just read in to the record the financial status report really quickly. So total zone assistant funds is $8,635,738.51. Total funds that are obligated are $2,828,167.18. Total funds available for loans and projects is $5,266,816.80. We have 118 active loans year to date. We have 2 loans in default. We have loans paid off year to date is 10, and loan balances outstanding year to date is $1,864,138.03. We have interest earned year to date from CDs and money market accounts is $21,684.17, and interest earned year to date from our loan program is $21,858.31. So for a total of income generated of $43,542.48.
Okay, thank you. Any committee reports?
No, I just have, I have one question. Is there any words, since we talked about blinds to go, that we're supposed to have that walkthrough?
So we have to figure out what our next step is going to be, because we've made a bunch of overtures to them. Christina Santiago, who was our contact with HR, left her position. I think she might even left the company. She gave me the contact information of their person in Canada. I sent a letter to Canada, never heard back from them, and it's gone pretty dark already with them. So we have to figure out our next move. I don't know, maybe a letter from our attorney saying, we're trying to get in touch with you, but we haven't had any response.
Sure.
Maybe we should do that, Sean.
Yeah, no problem.
If the board wants to do that, I think that's probably a good next move. Nothing too threatening, but when you get a letter with the attorney letterhead on it, some reason it has that magical ability to make you move your feet a little bit sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially if we're underscoring the fact that they're not in compliance with the agreement.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments by trustees? There's no public comment, right? Nobody expressed interest in public comment, is there?
I just wanted to congratulate.
Anita, there is somebody?
Sounds like we have someone on the line.
Yeah, I want to speak. Hi, do you hear me?
Okay, we're opening for public comment. Yes,
this is Moshe Zionis, 1163 Evergreen Avenue. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Calling regarding the community center property, that whole thingy. I would like to know from this board, the LDC, a couple of questions. One, I'd like to know what you thought was a fair trade in that deal. They get the community center property. Is the deal that they get to build something there, or is the deal that is just for a public parking lot? So that's actually 2 questions. And the third question is regarding getting some sort of playground back there. A lot of neighbors over there missed the playground that the township allowed them to demolish.
the site plan that the planning board approved did not show any playground. So is there any real dream of the LDC to somehow get a playground back in the area? That's the next question. And my final question is, I understand that the shopping center people did not yet sign the amended agreement. That's what Mr. Klein told me last week. So I want to know what's up with that. Are they signing it, or are they not going to sign it? If they didn't sign it, how could they demolish the community center yet? Since they can't yet build the new community center. Those are my questions.
David, can you answer those questions?
I could address it. This is something that preceded my tenure. There was an amendment to the base. Was it the base Ruffle? I believe it was. Agreement. Canary. And
one second. Pause. Mr. Klein, pause. The original agreement was signed in 2018, February 2018. Were you already working for the LDC then?
I was working for the LDC, but the whole arrangement preceded me.
Okay, good. Go. Speak. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say, we inherited this situation from when it began many years prior to that. But yes, there was an amendment made to the agreement, and we performed all of the tasks necessary to make that agreement available. We sent it to them, and I'm going to let actually Sean, our attorney, continue addressing this, but they to date have not signed the amendment, so I don't know what the status is of it.
How are they demolishing the community center? They already demolished it if they have not yet signed the new agreement. Until they sign the new agreement, the original agreement should stand. The original agreement says that they have to build a new community center, which we now know they can't do because you don't have a CAFRA permit. So until they sign the amendment, then the original agreement should stand, and you should not allow them to demolish the community center if they're not going to be able to uphold the original agreement. That's my thing.
Right.
David, it's Sean. If I could just,
sure.
Maybe this gentleman could leave us with his contact information. I could get him some more up-to-date information because I don't have a current status of that right now, but it would be helpful if he leaves us his contact info and I can reach out and get some more information from this gentleman.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah,
Mr. has my number, but I'll send it again.
Yeah, Sean, I'll connect you both on email. I have his email, and he made an open request a couple weeks ago, and we provided to him the contract and the amendment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the gentleman's name that was speaking about the center.
Moshe Zionist. Is that Mike?
Yes.
Hey, Mike, this is Moshe Zionist.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so back to my original question. What do you think is this as a fair deal? You give him the property and he's going to build you a one-story office building? Explain to me the logic over there.
You're asking the board as a body?
I'm asking the board as a body, and anyone who wants can answer. I know you said you weren't around, which is baloney, but the board was around.
Well, no, I'm not trying to shirk any responsibility over here. I'm just saying that this is a deal that goes back many years.
I spoke to you on the phone. You gave me a bunch of baloney on the phone. You told me that the amendment was from 4 years ago and that you had nothing to do with this. And the amendment was from December of 2020. You tried to tell me that.
No. You're conflating. With all due respect, you're conflating two things. With all due respect, you're conflating two things. The deal, original, this whole project is a years old project. There was an amendment that was made to the contract in 2018, like you said. And that is a valid question. I don't think anyone, does anyone on the board have any knowledge of this project? Not too much knowledge on this project over here.
So who's going to enforce the terms of the deal? It says in, okay, next question. It says in the agreement that he has to connect the parking lot with the former parking lot on Monmouth Avenue. Is there anyone who could translate to me what that means? Does he have to connect the parking lots, or does he not have to connect the parking lots? Because the site plan that went to the planning board does not include connecting the parking lots.
Yeah, David, I would have to go back and look at the agreements again, but if he wants to reconvene after the meeting, we can have a more knowledgeable conversation about it, but it is some period of time has gone by, so I would need to review it before I answer intelligently.
I think you're right, Sean. I think what I'll do is I'll connect both of you gentlemen via email, and then we can continue that conversation, because right now the question you may be asking excellent questions. We just don't have the information to provide you with educated responses.
Okay, well, I guess I expected too much from you then. Thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to Sean offline.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go back to the regular meeting. Is there anything, just a curiosity, is there anything for closed session?
There is. We spoke with our accountant the other day. I think it was Friday, and there is a closed session item. We probably should address it. No, we shouldn't address it.
I don't think it's closed session.
Okay, so let's first go into the non-consent agenda. We'll do a roll call for that. We'll vote on accepting the NJEDA microlender support grant, and then we'll go into closed session. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So motion to move the non-consent agenda, resolution 21-08-1.
Move.
Second by Yehuda.
Who's the first?
Mike.
Mike? Okay, so Mike and Yehuda. Roll call, please.
Lee Gold,
Yes.
Mike McNeil,
Yes.
Abraham Muller,
Yes.
Ellie Bennett,
Yes.
Rabbi Moshe Weisberg.
Rabbi Weisberg?
Wave, Rabbi. If you're saying yes, wave.
He's muted.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. A motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion.
Please identify yourself when you're saying making the motion. We don't know who you are.
Lake Gold.
Thank you. Second.
Mike McNeil.
Okay, Lake Gold and Mike McNeil. We're going into closed session.
All right, I got to stop streaming, so 1 second.
Okay,
We're streaming? Okay.
yes.
So the last item is, so Skip also had mentioned that we have $7 million of assets, of land assets, which are parking lots, as you know. And he feels for accounting purposes that we should transfer them to the township or the LIC and remove the exposure from LDC. I guess being, LDC is not in the business technically of owning properties per se, like the township and the LIC are. And he feels that we should transfer it, similar to like what we did with the Strand, to one of those entities.
Are there any advantages of keeping the parking lots?
It just shows more assets on our books. It makes us look richer, but I don't know what the advantage is for a nonprofit to have it. Well, I think LICs also, are they they're not a for-profit, are they?
Oh, yeah, the LIC is allowed to engage in real estate negotiations, and it doesn't have to be to the highest bidder. It can be to the one that's more appropriate, or somebody who's going to promote business in the town. Whereas the LDC and the township are held to different public bidding requirements. That's the big difference. So if the township or the LIC took over a parking lot, they could turn around and say, you know what, we want to sell it to the Boys Club and make a clubhouse out of it, even though they're not the highest bidder because it's a good public purpose, for instance. So usually it's a pro-business analysis.
But if we use the UEZ funds to buy something 10 years ago, would that require us to keep it?
It needs to be paid back to the UEZ.
We had the same issue at the ballpark, and what we did was we put a provision in the ballpark lease that said that if something ever happened where, let's say that the Blue Claws reneged on the lease, then the asset would be the LDCs would have to be made whole.
We did that with the Strand also, did we not?
You did it with the Strand, yep.
Yes, same thing. So basically the asset, if it was sold, the profits would go to the UEZ.
Right.
I mean, so technically, we're not really giving up the asset. I mean, it may be off of our books, but if anything's ever done with it, that's not being used any longer for the public good, then the money's going to come back to the UEZ.
The LDC, yes.
Yes.
The LDC, yes.
Which is genius.
Yeah. So I don't know what would the board how would the board want to move forward with this idea?
I don't think you have to make a decision today, David. I think Skip should just stay in this, so maybe by next year we clean the books up a little bit more because he's already done the audit for this year.
Okay.
So you're putting it out there to let them know. And then if we're going to do it, we'll have to do it by resolutions and stuff like that, just so he has it for permission to do it next year.
Yeah.
But he's
Okay.
on the audit
So we'll put that out there.
coming up this year. So we got time if they want to think about this a little bit more and maybe have more full discussion.
Yeah.
It's food for thought right now.
Yeah. You know what? While we have, we're finishing up over here, I might as well put this out there, and if the board would vote on it. We did a subordination of mortgage for alcoholic ices on June 23rd. And of course, we reviewed all of the documents. Everything was in order, and there was plenty of value in the property to justify doing the subordination, so we did it. And we'd like the board to memorialize that action. So if the board would vote on it as a memorialization, we'll put that on as Resolution 21-08-2, approving a subordination of mortgage. Might as well do it now.
Whatever happened to the samples the guy was supposed to bring?
He brought samples. We just wanted more. I'll bring it up again to him. But the chairman, if you want to have the board to vote on it, I might as well just do it right now.
So again, I'm not clear on what we're voting on.
Okay, so this is a subordination of mortgage for alcoholic ices on 9 Harvest Court in Jackson. And the property is worth $445,000. We're taking our senior lien and making it junior to a new mortgage that was which they refinanced their property. And I think the combined loan to value was I think it was less than 80%. It definitely was at a low combined loan to value ratio. And it made all the sense in the world to do the subordination. So we just, we did it, and however, it needs to be memorialized by the board.
Or do you want to just wait and do it when you have the written resolution formalized so people can review it before you vote on it?
I would like to see it in writing.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Anyone else with any comments? We'll do a motion to adjourn. Okay, motion to adjourn?
Motion by Ellie.
Ellie, second? Mike, we couldn't see you. Okay, we see you now.
What is it?
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Have a good one.
Okay, take care, everybody.
David and Sean, can I talk to you real quick? David,
Sure, let me
can
turn
you
off the
stay?
stream. Okay. Okay, bye, everybody. Have a good evening.
Good night.